This is Venezuela. Breathtaking, colorful, wild. Venezuela is a large South American country. It's twice as big as the state of California. And as you can see here, you have Venezuela highlighted in South America. Nearly 2 million people live in Venezuela. Venezuela's land is stunning. Stunning is another word for like breathtaking, gorgeous, picturesque. The country has thick forests and huge mountains. The Catatumbo River is famous for its lightning, and there are over 250 lightning strikes there every year. Some mountains have flat tops, and they are known as tepuy. So most of the time when we see mountains, we notice that they come to like a peak, but as you can see here, these mountains are actually flat. For thousands of years, people lived in Venezuela. Early settlers included the Carib and the Timoto-Cuica people. This clay figurine from Venezuela is more than 1,000 years old. The Timoto-Cuicas built villages in the valleys, and they farmed the land. The Carib people still live in parts of Venezuela, and they speak a language called Carib. And so this is a person, an indigenous person, Carib person from Venezuela. Venezuela is bursting with life, and the country is home to many plants and animals. The national flower is the orchid. How beautiful of a flower is that, the orchid right here. So orchids, you often see orchids around Easter time here in the United States, but this is actually the national flower, the country's flower. Venezuela's most famous bird is the tupial. And this right here is a picture of a tupial. You see it right here in orange and yellow and black. The largest rodent in the world lives in Venezuela. It is called the capybara. So you see here, these are rodents. Rodents are things like mice or gerbils, and so the largest ones actually live in Venezuela. In 1498, Christopher Columbus saw Venezuela from the ocean, and soon after, the Spanish took control of the land. In 1811, Venezuela won its independence from Spain. Independence Day is celebrated on July 5th. That's actually really close to our Independence Day, 4th of July. Theirs is on the 5th. This right here is a statue of Simón Bolivar. A man named Simón Bolivar, he lived from 1783 to 1830, helped drive the Spanish out of Venezuela. And so back long time ago, whenever European countries were trying to explore and colonize and discover new lands, they would colonize them. And so that means that they would overtake these lands and take control. And so many countries in Central and South America were actually under colonial rule of the Spanish. And so that's the main reason why they actually speak Spanish in many of these countries. And so Simón Bolivar is actually a hero from the country because he helped to break free and have the country to become more independent. Caracas is Venezuela's largest city, and it's also the country's capital. As you can see, this is a picture of Caracas. You can see many high-rises there. Other large cities are Maracaibo, Valencia, and Maracay. Over 40 languages are spoken in Venezuela, but the main language is Spanish. This is how you can say mountain in Spanish, montaña. And if you noticed that montaña and mountain are very similar, and that's because mountain has root words or root parts that come from Latin. This is how you say sun in Spanish. Sol. The Carib word for sun is hueyu. That's pretty cool. We learned the Spanish and we also learned a part of an indigenous language. So again, the Carib word for sun is hueyu. In Spanish, sol. In Carib, hueyu. Venezuelan food is tasty. A popular meal is ailaika. It is made with meat and vegetables. You serve it on a banana leaf. Arepas are grilled corn cakes. They are stuffed with meat, eggs, or cheese. Yum! One shop in Venezuela has over 900 kinds of ice cream, and it even has one flavored hot dog. Would you ever try an ice cream flavored hot dog? That's a little much for me, but I sure wouldn't mind taking a trip and seeing all the different flavors that they offered. Venezuelan musicians play joropo. It is a kind of folkloric music. The joropo was introduced by Spanish settlers, and dancers twirl around, stomp their feet to the music. Now, if you remember, when we studied Spain, there is a dance called the flamenco, and it comes from Spain. And it involves stomping the feet and lots of clapping. And so it's very possible that this type of folkloric dance comes from, it's almost like a cousin type dance to flamenco, joropo. What is the most popular sport in Venezuela? Baseball. In Spanish, baseball is called béisbol, and it's pronounced almost the same way. Venezuelans also enjoy soccer. Fans cheer for their country's team. Now, up to this point, we've read various books about Latin American countries, and always their favorite sport was soccer up to this point, or football. But there are actually a number of Central American countries where baseball is super popular, and you'll actually see a lot of baseball athletes that come from Central America. Lots of festivals are celebrated in Venezuela. The most colorful is Carnaval. People dress up and dance in the streets. And in July, Venezuelans celebrate Dia del Niño. And it is a holiday that honors children. And so Dia del Niño stands for Day of the Children. That's pretty cool, a day to celebrate kids. Dia del Niño, and that's in July. Christmas is a big holiday in Venezuela. How do people celebrate? Well, many roller skate to church. In Spanish, Christmas is called Navidad. You might remember this from Christmas songs. There's a Jose Feliciano song called Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad, próspero año y felicidad. And so that means, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year. Others set off dazzling fireworks. So let's talk about some fast facts with regard to Venezuela. The capital city is Caracas. The population of Venezuela is almost 32 million. The main language is Spanish. The money is the Venezuelan Bolivar. Do you remember why maybe the currency or the money from Venezuela is called the Venezuelan Bolivar? Yeah, the man who helped to free Venezuela from Spanish rule, his name was Bolivar. The major religion is Roman Catholic, which is a sect of Christianity. Neighboring countries are Brazil, Guyana, and Colombia. Here's a pretty cool fact. The highest waterfall in the world is Venezuela's Angel Falls. It's more than twice as tall as the Empire State Building. And that's one of the tallest buildings in the entire world. So this this waterfall, Angel Falls, is twice as large as that Empire State Building. That's pretty tall. The capital, okay, is a city where the country's government is based. Venezuela's capital is Caracas, Mississippi's capital is Jackson, and the United States capital is Washington, D.C. Festivals are another way to call celebrations. Independence is another way to discuss this notion, this concept of freedom. And national, it means that it has to do with the country. So a national anthem is the country song. The national food is the food that everyone eats. Do you remember the national flower for Venezuela? It's called the orchid, and they're very, very beautiful flowers. So let's take a look at some different activities that we can do from home that will help us to celebrate the Venezuelan culture. So we discussed that the tallest waterfall in the world is Angel Falls. And interestingly enough, at a lot of different types of waterfalls, you may see a rainbow. Rainbows are created when light passes through droplets, and those droplets actually refract that light. That means that it takes the light and it splits them up into all the colors, because light is made up of all these different colors. Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. And so these colors are found in rainbows, and it's from the light that split through the rain droplets. So you can take a piece of cardboard, and it's going to be like a half circle that you'll use, and you'll cut slits into that half circle. And then you'll take the pieces of string, and you will wind them around after you make some slits all the way around that half circle. And then they will all come and meet at the bottom, at the center of the half circle. From there, you'll actually take some yarn and you'll just weave it through up, over, under, over, under, over, under, and you will be able to create your own rainbow. Beautiful birds are part of the ecosystems that live in Venezuela. So you can take colored paper, trace your hands, and create some beautiful parrots to commemorate some of the diversity of animal life that lives in Venezuela. Take a look at the Venezuelan flag. Notice that it is comprised of all the primary colors: yellow, blue, and red. Let's take a look at an activity that we can do that involves primary colors.